Supreme Commander Vexera stood aboard the bridge of the Stellar Dominion, her crystalline form refracting the light of Earth's sun as she studied the holographic display of the blue planet below. Her species, the Vilaxians, had spent centuries searching for other civilizations among the stars. Yet what they found here was disappointing. Another primitive world, she announced to her bridge crew, her voice resonating with the characteristic harmonic overtones of her crystalline biology. Look at their satellites. Chemical rockets. Radio waves. They haven't even developed basic quantum communications. First Officer Zyra approached, her own crystalline form a deeper shade of purple than her commander's. The scans are complete, Supreme Commander. They still use fossil fuels for much of their energy needs. Their most advanced weapons appear to be nuclear fission devices and kinetic projectiles. Vexera's crystalline structure vibrated with what her species considered laughter. Projectile weapons? In this age? Even the Centaurians abandoned those millennia ago when they joined the Galactic Concordat. The massive viewscreen displayed various images of Earth's military forces, tanks, aircraft carriers, fighter jets. To the Vilaxians, they might as well have been looking at ancient cave paintings. What's most peculiar, Zyra continued, is that they seem to have the theoretical knowledge for more advanced technology. Their scientists understand quantum mechanics, yet they persist in using these primitive methods. Vexera moved closer to the view screen, her crystalline form catching and spreading the light in fascinating patterns. Perhaps they lack the resources or capability to implement more advanced solutions. It would be our duty, then, to guide them toward proper civilization. The Vilaxian Empire had guided many civilizations over the centuries, always under the banner of technological enlightenment. Their quantum-based technology was centuries beyond anything Earth possessed. Their ships could manipulate gravity itself, their weapons could disrupt the very fabric of space-time, and their defensive shields operated on principles that would seem like magic to human scientists. Initiate first contact protocols, Vexera commanded. Let's show them what real civilization looks like. As the Stellar Dominion descended through Earth's atmosphere, its massive form becoming visible to the populations below, emergency sessions were being called in every major government around the world. In the Pentagon, General Maria Santos watched the alien ship's descent with an expression that might have worried the Vilaxians, had they been better at reading human faces. They're making no attempt to conceal themselves, she observed to her staff. No stealth technology, no attempt at diplomatic backchannels first. They want to be seen. Colonel James Chin, her chief of special operations, nodded. The way they're positioning their ship, it's a power move. They want to overwhelm us with their technological superiority. And what do you think about their technology, Colonel? Santos asked, though she already knew his answer. Chin smiled slightly. It's impressive, certainly. But they're broadcasting their capabilities on all frequencies. Either they're incredibly confident or they've never faced an enemy who turned their own advanced technology against them, Santos finished. Get me the president. It's time to activate Project Legacy. Meanwhile, the Vilaxian ship had positioned itself above New York City, its massive form casting a shadow over Manhattan. The ship's external speakers activated, broadcasting in perfect English, another display of their superior technology. People of Earth, Vexera's voice boomed across the city. I am Supreme Commander Vexera of the Vilaxian Empire. We have come to offer you the benefits of true civilization. Your primitive technology holds you back from joining the greater galactic community. We will guide you toward enlightenment. In the United Nations building below, Ambassador Sarah Chin, Colonel Chen's sister, listened to the transmission with growing concern. She turned to her colleague, Ambassador Viktor Petrov. They don't even realize, do they? She asked quietly. Petrov shook his head. No. They think our primitive technology is a sign of weakness or inability. They haven't considered that we might have good reasons for keeping something simple, Chin finished. How many advanced civilizations have they encountered, I wonder? And how many of them truly tested their wonderful quantum technologies against basics physics? The Vilaxians continued their broadcast, listing their technological achievements and explaining how they would help Earth abandon its outdated methods of defense and industry. They spoke of quantum communications, gravity manipulation, and energy weapons that could reshape reality itself. And all the while, in bunkers and bases around the world, humanity began implementing plans they had prepared for decades. Plans that recognized a simple truth the Vilaxians had forgotten in their rush to complexity. Sometimes the old ways persisted for very good reasons. As Vexera concluded her speech with a deadline for Earth's response, she turned to her first officer. Begin analyzing their military installations. When they see our gravity weapons in action, they'll understand the futility of resistance. But down below, in a hardened facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Santos was addressing a very different kind of meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, she announced to a room full of military leaders from around the world, Operation Newton is now in effect. The Vilaxians think they're here to teach us about advanced technology. Instead, they're about to learn why humanity never fully abandoned the basics of warfare. And in orbit above Earth, hidden from the Vilaxians' quantum sensors by the very simplicity of their design, the first pieces of humanity's response were already moving into position. The vast underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains hummed with activity as General Santos studied the holographic display of Earth's orbital space. Hundreds of small dots represented pieces of what the Vilaxians had dismissed as primitive orbital debris. If only they knew. Status report on Project Retrograde, she commanded, her voice carrying across the bustling command floor. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, head of Earth's Special Technologies Division, stepped forward. Her tablet displayed a complex series of calculations that would have surprised the Vilaxians with their sophistication. Phase 1 is complete, General. Our orbital platforms are in position, masked as space debris. The Vilaxians' quantum sensors are so focused on detecting advanced energy signatures that they're completely overlooking basic metallic objects. Ironic, Colonel Chen commented from his station. Their sensors can detect quantum fluctuations across solar systems, but they've forgotten how to look for simple things. Above them, Supreme Commander Vexera was growing increasingly puzzled by Earth's apparent lack of response. The Stellar Dominion sensors showed only routine military movements, aircraft returning to bases, ships maintaining their standard patrol patterns, ground forces conducting what appeared to be basic drills. They're not even attempting to hide their activities, she observed to her command staff. Their missile silos remain exposed. Their naval vessels maintain predictable courses. It's as if they don't understand the concept of strategic deception. First Officer Zyra's crystalline form shifted in what their species considered a thoughtful gesture. Perhaps they truly are as primitive as our initial assessment suggested. Their response deadline expires in 12 hours, and they haven't even attempted to negotiate. But Earth was far from inactive. In secret facilities around the globe, humanity's response was taking shape. In the Siberian wilderness, Russian engineers loaded specially designed electromagnetic pulse generators into what appeared to be obsolete missile casings. In the Australian outback, quantum physicists fine-tuned devices that looked like simple radio transmitters but contained sophisticated trap systems for advanced energy weapons. Ambassador Chin stood before the United Nations Security Council, her expression carefully neutral. The Vilaxians expect us to either surrender in awe of their technology or respond with what they consider primitive force. Their psychology reports indicate a species so convinced of their technological superiority that they've lost the ability to consider alternatives. And what of their demands? The British representative asked. They're offering to uplift us, to share their technology. Their technology, Chen replied, which depends entirely on quantum manipulation, gravity control, and energy fields. They've become so specialized that they've forgotten the fundamental principles they built upon. They don't even maintain kinetic weapon defenses anymore. Their shields are optimized solely for energy weapons. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, a network of seemingly primitive submarines carried special cargo, not nuclear weapons, but devices designed to exploit the very quantum principles the Vilaxians relied upon. Each vessel maintained complete radio silence, using only basic sonar to communicate, technology so old the aliens didn't even bother monitoring for it. In orbit, Commander Sarah Mitchell floated in the International Space Station, watching the Vilaxian ships through what appeared to be a simple optical telescope. Her real instruments, disguised as routine atmospheric monitoring equipment, were gathering detailed data on the aliens' shield frequencies and power distributions. "They're actually broadcasting their shield specifications," she reported via a secure, hardwired communication line. "They're so proud of their technology that they want us to understand how hopeless our position is." General Santos allowed herself a small smile. Pride comes before the fall. "How long until the orbital platforms are fully charged?" "For hours," Mitchell replied. "The solar collectors are performing exactly as designed. The Vilaxian sensors register them as simple solar panels, technically true, just not for the purpose they assume." In the Stellar Dominion's command center, Vexera received reports from her fleet's analysis of Earth's military capabilities. The reports were filled with terms like obsolete, inefficient, and technologically stagnant. None of her analysts thought to ask why a species capable of understanding quantum mechanics would choose to maintain such seemingly primitive weapons. "Their orbital construct is particularly puzzling," one analyst reported, indicating the International Space Station. "It's essentially a primitive habitat using basic solar power and chemical rockets for propulsion. They don't even have artificial gravity." "Perhaps," Zyra suggested, "we should demonstrate our capabilities. A small display of our gravity weapons might help them understand their situation." Vexera considered this. "Select a target of minimal strategic value but high visibility. Let's show them the difference between their crude explosives and real power." But as the Vilaxians prepared their demonstration, Dr. Rodriguez was making final adjustments to humanity's countermeasures. "The beauty of it," she explained to General Santos, "is that they've never considered the interaction between their quantum fields and basic physical principles. They've evolved their technology so far beyond the fundamentals that they've forgotten the foundations it's built upon." "How long can their ships maintain quantum field integrity under gravitational stress?" Santos asked. Rodriguez smiled. "That's the interesting part. Their own specifications show they've optimized everything for efficiency in normal space. They never considered someone might use simple Newtonian physics against their quantum fields. The energy requirements to maintain field stability under mechanical stress are astronomical." As the deadline for Earth's response grew closer, both sides prepared for what they believed would be a decisive confrontation. The Vilaxians, confident in their overwhelming technological superiority, never questioned why their sensors showed no sign of advanced energy weapons being prepared. Humanity, understanding exactly what they faced, completed their preparations in plain sight, using technology so basic the aliens didn't even consider it worth monitoring. In her command center, General Santos received the final confirmations. Every piece was in place, every system ready. She opened a channel to all Earth forces, her voice calm and assured. "All units, prepare for Operation Newton. Remember, no matter how advanced their technology, they still have to obey the basic laws of physics. Let's remind them why humanity never abandoned the fundamentals." Above, the Vilaxians' deadline ticked closer to expiration, while hundreds of pieces of what they assumed was space debris slowly shifted position, preparing to demonstrate why sometimes the simplest solutions were the most effective. The deadline expired with what the Vilaxians perceived as Earth silence. Supreme Commander Vexera stood before her command staff, her crystalline form pulsing with frequencies that indicated absolute confidence. "The time for diplomacy has passed," she announced. "Begin the demonstration. Target their primitive military installation in the desert, the one they call Area 51, a fitting symbol of their technological limitations." The Stellar Dominion's main quantum cannon powered up, its energy signature blazing across every sensor in Earth's solar system. The weapon was a marvel of advanced engineering, capable of manipulating gravity itself to tear apart matter at the subatomic level. As it prepared to fire, Vexera broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring humanity would witness their technological superiority. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Rodriguez watched the energy readings with intense interest. "They're actually doing exactly what we predicted," she reported to General Santos. Their weapon's power signature is broadcasting its exact frequency modulation. They want us to see it. Arrogance makes for poor operational security, Santos remarked. Activate the quantum field disruptors. Across Earth's orbit, dozens of seemingly innocuous satellites began emitting precisely calibrated gravitational waves. To the Vilaxians' advanced sensors, these appeared as mere background noise, too primitive to be worth noting. But as their quantum cannon fired, something unexpected happened. The beam, which should have carved through Earth's atmosphere with devastating precision, instead diffused and scattered. Vexera's crystalline form vibrated with confusion. Impossible, she declared. Analysis. What interfered with our weapon? Before her analysts could respond, Earth launched its first true response. From silos across the planet, hundreds of what appeared to be primitive missiles rose into the atmosphere. The Vilaxian sensors registered them as nuclear weapons, dangerous but easily counterable with their advanced shields. Such a predictable response, First Officer Zyra commented. Activate the quantum shields. Their nuclear weapons will be useless against our defenses. But these weren't normal nuclear missiles. As they approached the Vilaxian fleet, they suddenly split apart, releasing thousands of small, metallic objects. The alien sensors, calibrated to detect energy weapons and nuclear signatures, barely registered these simple projectiles. Debris weapons? Vexera laughed. They think to damage our ships with pieces of metal? Then the first wave hit. The small objects, accelerated to incredible speeds, carried tremendous kinetic energy. The Vilaxians' quantum shields, designed to repel energy weapons, struggled to cope with pure physical momentum. Several smaller ships reported shield failures. Impossible! Zyra exclaimed. Our shields are impenetrable. To energy weapons, Commander Mitchell's voice cut through their communications. But you forgot about basic physics. Force equals mass times acceleration. No quantum field negates that. As the Vilaxians struggled to adapt their defenses, Earth unveiled the second phase of its attack. The primitive submarines beneath the oceans launched their special cargo, devices that created localized distortions in spacetime, using the aliens' own quantum principles against them. Their shields are modulated to specific quantum frequencies, Dr. Rodriguez explained as she monitored the attack. But they never considered someone might use those same frequencies to create destructive interference patterns. The Vilaxian fleet's perfect formation began to break apart as ships struggled with failing quantum systems. Their advanced sensors, overwhelmed by what they considered background noise, couldn't effectively target Earth's forces. The very complexity of their technology became a weakness. Switch to secondary weapons. Vexera ordered. Recalibrate shields to repel physical objects. But it was too late. The orbital platforms that the aliens had dismissed as debris now revealed their true purpose. Each one contained a simple but powerful electromagnetic pulse generator. As they activated in sequence, waves of electromagnetic energy washed over the Vilaxian ships. Warning, the Stellar Dominion's AI announced. Quantum field stability compromised. Critical systems failing. The Vilaxians watched in horror as their advanced technology, the source of their pride and perceived superiority, began to fail under the assault of what they had dismissed as primitive weapons. Their ships, designed to repel the most sophisticated energy weapons in the galaxy, proved vulnerable to simple physics and electromagnetic disruption. As her fleet descended into chaos, Vexera received a transmission from General Santos. Perhaps now would be a good time to discuss why we kept our primitive weapons, Commander. Sometimes the old ways persist because they work. The battle wasn't over, but the Vilaxians had already learned a costly lesson. True advancement meant building upon foundations, not abandoning them. As their quantum weapons flickered and died, they faced the humbling realization that they had forgotten something crucial about warfare. Complexity wasn't always an advantage. On the bridge of the Stellar Dominion, chaos reigned. Supreme Commander Vexera watched in disbelief as her fleet's most advanced systems continued to fail under Earth's surprisingly effective assault. The pristine crystalline walls of her command center crackled with distress signals from dozens of ships. "Status report," she demanded, her harmonic voice frequencies betraying her growing concern. "Quantum shield generators operating at 23% efficiency," an officer reported. "Gravity weapons offline. 47 ships have lost quantum drive capability. Our advanced targeting systems are being overwhelmed by electromagnetic interference." First Officer Zyra approached, her crystalline form dulled with stress. "Supreme Commander, the humans, they're not fighting the way any advanced civilization should. They're combining their primitive technologies in ways our tactical simulations never considered." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Earth's submarine fleet launched the next phase of Operation Newton. Instead of torpedoes, they released thousands of simple metallic spheres. To the Vilaxians' sophisticated sensors, they appeared to be crude weapons hardly worth noting. They were wrong. "Activate the resonance field generators," General Santos ordered from her command center. The metallic spheres began vibrating at precisely calculated frequencies, creating interference patterns that played havoc with the aliens' quantum field generators. It was like trying to maintain a perfect musical note in the middle of a chaotic symphony. Dr. Rodriguez monitored the effects with satisfaction. "Beautiful, isn't it?" she commented to Colonel Chin. "Their quantum fields require perfect stability. We're not trying to overpower them, we're just introducing a little chaos into their perfectly ordered systems." In orbit, Commander Mitchell coordinated the space-based portion of Earth's attack. The International Space Station, which the Vilaxians had dismissed as primitive, now served as a command center for hundreds of small, independently operated satellites. "Launch Disruption Swarm Alpha," Mitchell ordered. Thousands of tiny CubeSats, each no bigger than a coffee cup, activated their simple electromagnetic generators. Individually, they were insignificant. Together, they created a web of electromagnetic interference that the Vilaxians' quantum systems couldn't filter out. "They're using magnets," a Vilaxian sensor officer reported incredulously. "Simple electromagnetic fields. Our quantum sensors can't. They're not designed to. Not designed to deal with basics," Ambassador Chen's voice cut through their communications. "You evolved your technology so far beyond fundamentals that you forgot to maintain defenses against them. Like building a castle in the sky and removing the foundation." The Vilaxian fleet's formation continued to deteriorate. Their ships, designed to operate in perfect quantum synchronization, found themselves unable to maintain the precise field alignments necessary for their advanced weapons. Earth's forces pressed their advantage, launching wave after wave of kinetic weapons and electromagnetic pulses. "Fascinating," Dr. Rodriguez observed as she studied the data. "Their ships are actually more vulnerable when close together. Their quantum fields are creating cascading failure patterns." General Santos nodded. "They designed their entire civilization around the assumption that more advanced always means better. They never considered that sometimes a rock thrown at the right speed can do more damage than a laser." In a desperate attempt to regain control of the battle, Bexera ordered her remaining functional ships to attempt a quantum jump to a higher orbit. But as they engaged their drives, they encountered another surprise. The space around Earth was filled with simple gravitational distortion fields, created by rotating masses of dense material that Earth's forces had positioned during their preparations. "The quantum drive fields are destabilizing," a Vilaxian engineer reported. "These primitive gravitational distortions, they're creating interference patterns we never planned for." Commander Mitchell's voice came through again, calm and almost educational in tone. "Newton's laws still apply, even to quantum fields. Did you really think we wouldn't understand how to use gravity against you? We might not have your advanced technology, but we never stop studying the basics." The Stellar Dominion shuddered as another wave of kinetic impacts struck its weakened shields. Bexera watched in horror as simple physics overcame sophisticated technology. Her ships, the pride of the Vilaxian Empire, were being defeated not by superior technology, but by the very natural laws they had thought themselves beyond. "Perhaps," First Officer Zyra suggested, her voice heavy with realization, "we should have asked why they kept their primitive weapons before assuming they were inferior." As if to punctuate this observation, Earth's forces launched their next attack. This time, It was a combination of everything they had deployed so far: kinetic weapons, electromagnetic pulses, gravitational distortions, and resonance fields, all coordinated to exploit the fundamental weaknesses in the Vilaxians' over-specialized technology. The result was devastating. Ships that could have easily withstood attacks from the most advanced energy weapons in the galaxy found themselves helpless against the coordinated application of basic physical principles. The Vilaxians were learning a harsh lesson about the difference between advancement and progress. The Stellar Dominion's command center, once a marvel of crystalline perfection, now pulsed with erratic energy patterns as system after system failed. Supreme Commander Vexera watched her tactical display dissolve into static, their quantum sensors overwhelmed by what they had dismissed as background noise. All ships, emergency protocols, she commanded, but even her communications were breaking down, disrupted by Earth's web of electromagnetic interference. Divert all power to shield regeneration. But the humans had anticipated this too. As the Vilaxian ships attempted to reinforce their quantum shields, they discovered another fundamental oversight in their defenses. The power surge created by their emergency protocols made them more vulnerable to the electromagnetic pulses now saturating near-Earth orbit. General Santos observed the battle from her command center, her expression grim but satisfied. "Launch Phase 5, she ordered. "Let's show them what happens when you combine their quantum principles with our primitive delivery systems." Across Earth's surface, hundreds of missile silos opened. But instead of nuclear warheads, these missiles carried quantum resonance generators, devices reverse-engineered from studying the Vilaxians' own technology. The aliens had broadcast their technical specifications so proudly, never imagining humans could adapt them to work with simpler delivery systems. "Quantum torpedoes?" First Officer Zyra exclaimed as their sensors detected the incoming weapons. "Impossible. They don't have the technology." "No," Dr. Rodriguez's voice cut through their communications again. "We don't have your exact technology. We have something better. The ability to combine basic principles with advanced concepts. Your quantum fields are perfect, precisely calibrated. Ours are crude, unstable, and unpredictable, exactly what makes them so effective against your defenses." The quantum torpedoes detonated in a cascade around the Vilaxian fleet. Each explosion was relatively weak by the alien standards, but they created overlapping fields of quantum disruption that played havoc with the ship's perfectly calibrated systems. It was like trying to perform a delicate symphony in the middle of an earthquake. Commander Mitchell coordinated the space-based attack from the ISS. "Their ships are breaking formation," she reported. "Their quantum field synchronization is failing. They can't maintain their advanced weapons without it." The Vilaxian fleet, designed to operate as a single, perfectly coordinated unit, began to break apart. Ships collided as their gravity control systems failed, while others drifted helplessly, their quantum drives reduced to useless crystalline sculptures by the humans' combined assault. In a final, desperate move, Vexera ordered her remaining ships to attempt a massed quantum jump out of Earth's orbit. "We must regroup," she commanded. "Once clear of their primitive interference, we can bring our full technology to bear." But as the Vilaxian ships engaged their quantum drives, they encountered the true masterpiece of Earth's defense. The humans had positioned thousands of simple rotating masses throughout near-Earth space, creating a complex gravitational web. As the aliens attempted to jump, these masses generated gravitational waves that disrupted their quantum fields in ways their computers couldn't compensate for. "Quantum drive failure," the Stellar Dominion's AI announced. "Gravitational anomalies detected. Jump sequence impossible to calculate." Ambassador Chen's voice came through once more, now carrying a note of finality. "Did you think we didn't understand quantum mechanics just because we don't rely on it exclusively? We studied your technology carefully. We knew its weaknesses because we never forgot its foundations." The battle had become a rout. Earth's forces pressed their advantage, launching wave after wave of combined attacks. Kinetic weapons stripped away weakened shields, electromagnetic pulses disrupted quantum systems, and gravitational distortions prevented escape. The Vilaxians' technological superiority had become their greatest weakness. Supreme Commander, Zyra said quietly, her crystalline form dulled with defeat. We must consider surrender. Our technology, it's useless against their methods. Vexera stood amid the chaos of her failing command center, watching as humanity demonstrated why they had never abandoned their primitive weapons. In their drive for advancement, the Vilaxians had forgotten something crucial. True sophistication meant understanding and respecting the foundations upon which it was built. Supreme Commander Vexera stood before the United Nations Security Council, her once proud crystalline form now humbled. The chamber was silent as she delivered the Vilaxian Empire's formal surrender, a moment that would reshape galactic civilization's understanding of technological progress. We came to Earth believing we would find a primitive civilization in need of enlightenment, she began, her harmonic tones subdued. Instead, we found ourselves being taught a lesson we had forgotten centuries ago. In the audience, General Santos sat beside Dr. Rodriguez and Colonel Chin, watching as humanity's victory transformed into something more valuable than mere military success. The Vilaxians weren't just surrendering, they were learning. Our civilization pursued advancement at the cost of wisdom, Vexera continued. We abandoned fundamental principles in our race for sophistication. We forgot that true progress builds upon its foundations rather than replacing them. The details of the peace agreement were revolutionary. Instead of demanding the Vilaxians advance technology as spoils of war, Earth proposed an exchange of knowledge. Humanity would share their understanding of combining basic principles with advanced concepts, while the Vilaxians would help integrate their quantum technology with Earth's more traditional methods. Ambassador Chin, leading the negotiation team, explained the human perspective. The future of technology isn't about abandoning the old for the new. It's about understanding how they can work together. Your quantum fields are remarkable, but they're even more powerful when combined with basic physics. In orbital shipyards, human and Vilaxian engineers began working together, creating hybrid systems that merged quantum technology with traditional mechanics. The results were extraordinary. Ships equipped with both quantum drives and conventional propulsion systems. Weapons that could switch between energy beams and kinetic projectiles. Shields that could withstand both advanced energy attacks and basic physical impacts. The irony, Dr. Rodriguez remarked as she worked with Vilaxian scientists, is that your quantum technology actually becomes more efficient when supported by conventional systems. You were so focused on purity of advancement that you missed opportunities for true innovation. The lessons of the conflict spread throughout the galaxy. Other advanced civilizations, hearing of the Vilaxian defeat, began re-examining their own technological development. Many discovered they had fallen into the same trap, pursuing advancement at the cost of foundational strength. First Officer Zyra, now leading a joint human-Vilaxian research team, found herself fascinated by Earth's approach to technology. You never stopped experimenting with basic principles, she observed. While we were perfecting quantum fields, you were finding new ways to use gravity and electromagnetics. We called it primitive, but really it was pragmatic. In the years that followed, Earth became a center for a new kind of technological revolution. The planet's unique combination of traditional and advanced technology attracted scientists and engineers from across the galaxy. The term Earth Tech became synonymous with innovative hybrid systems that respected both fundamental principles and advanced concepts. Commander Mitchell, overseeing the construction of Earth's first hybrid defense fleet, summed it up best. The Vilaxians taught us about manipulating quantum fields. We taught them why you never stop respecting the basics. Together, we're creating something neither of us could have achieved alone. As Vexera concluded her address to the UN, she shared a final insight that would be remembered for generations. We came to Earth thinking we would lift up a primitive civilization. Instead, humanity reminded the galaxy that true advancement doesn't mean abandoning your foundations, it means building upon them wisely. Sometimes the oldest solutions are still the best ones, not because they're primitive, but because they're fundamental. The day the aliens learned became more than just a victory celebration. It became a turning point in galactic civilization, a reminder that progress isn't always about reaching for the stars. Sometimes it's about remembering why you built the ladder in the first place. And in the depths of space, Earth's new hybrid ships patrolled the solar system, their quantum drives humming in perfect harmony with conventional engines, a testament to the power of combining the old with the new, the basic with the advanced, the fundamental with the revolutionary. The universe, it seemed, had much to learn from humanity's stubborn insistence on remembering its roots.